I like the way this feel. Yeah. Let my soul cry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Minister. We gonna speak from the heart on this one. I'm performing lyrical funerals, no obituary. I killed your boy and brought him back to life. Pet cemetery. My anointing not based on attendance at a seminary. Scarlet witches, they attracted to the visionary. Everywhere I go, I bring the word with me, missionary. Soldier drafted in the war machine, military. Pay attention, what I'm saying to you, legendary. You got the demeanor of a front desk secretary. That mean you take the calls, but you don't make the calls. That's why you hate, cause ain't nothing fake about me at all. Now I dare you try to say that with a straight face. My delivery in tip-top great shape. I'm too advanced for you, light years, space age. No evolution for you cavemen, stone age. I'm a thoroughbred, rock solid. I came from the bottom to the top, rock climbing. I grew up in the hood, pros and cons. That's that full court pressure when the ambulance roll out the stretcher. Why can't you see it's not logical? If you live diabolical. Boy, your point of view smaller than the hair follicle molecule. This for all of them that follow you, smoking all of them barbecue. When I pull up, your voice don't correct itself with no auto-tune. I got a whole nother level that I can enter whenever I gotta deal with the devil. I pick a whole nother method. I hear a whole lot of yapping. They wanna see my reaction. I'm really out here in the community making it happen. I don't really think they understand the dilemma. They ain't looking at the man in the mirror. Can't say it any clearer. The plan is very simple. It's time to start playing in the temple. Before somebody come and put the can on your temple. Reaching like a baby with his hand for the nipple. The Grand Reaper coming with his hand on the sickle. In the van coming with a ram with it. With the van coming get him. I am so glad that I changed up. Made it out of where I came from. Watch for the slide in the hook of the slow ball, fastball, and that change up. That ghetto lifestyle, it changed us. Go back to visit, it ain't changed much. Only difference is now the way that my brain process information. And Satan, been after my license day one. Let me say something. Only reason that I'm still alive today because God's grace is amazing. Just another raisin in the sun. Dream deferred when things occurred. Now you getting served right on the curb like a lemonade stand. I just gave you the benediction, let the whole church say amen.
Peace, peace, peace. What it is Brother Tavon Sueno, aka the Orthodox Moor. Wishing y'all peace and blessings. Y'all see the title, y'all know what it is. This has been an interesting few weeks, family, concerning the 400-year floppacy and the freestyle and remix thereof, etc., etc., etc. But in the midst of all that remixing and freestyle and etc., 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 a couple of good brothers of mine got thrown on the bus for the sake of cult of personality. And that always rubs me the wrong way. So I'm going to speak a little bit about an accusation that was thrown my way and also being thrown at some brothers of mine and whatnot. This isn't the first time Dante's accused me of lying. And this isn't the first time he's been false. But most of you don't know that he was in my comment section accusing me of lying. Some of you may have seen his public post a little while ago talking about some stuff, but we're going to break down the timeline, the chronology, and what's really going on. Because your man's out here really thinking that he's not run, like everybody doesn't see him running. So Dante, just so we're clear, fam. Just so we're clear, fam. In the public eye, in like just the way you look at her in public, like the way everyone sees you from the outside, look like not you looking at yourself, everyone else looking at you, fam. You're out here like Lil Chris from Friday. Y'all remember Lil Chris from Friday? Little bad kid in the neighborhood, kicking over trash cans and whatnot, calling people punks and busters and whatnot. Always wreaking havoc and whatnot, but always likes to run away and never deal with his comeuppance and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember Lil Chris?
Don't let me get you, boy. Stop, man. Quit playing. I'm gonna come over next week, punk. Man, y'all some busters. Y'all can't see me, punk.
Likes to do dirt, bump his gums, but never deal with his comeuppance and whatnot, right? Now, see, that's Dante all day. All day. And this is Dante if he were ever to step into a ring and deal with his issues. Like, so for me, like he ran for me over 10 months ago, having to deal with the 400-year floppacy and whatnot, and the fact that it's a Negro only dog whistle and whatnot, right? If he were to step in the ring with me, or if he were to step in the ring with Blacktastic or Zadok or anybody halfway competent on the issue, I mean, it would look like this.
Punk. Man, y'all busters can't catch me. Man, y'all need to come on, huh? All right, guys. Who did we get? Who was gonna get you? We not good.
It looked just like that, fam. And that's why Dante won't ever, ever, ever get into the ring to debate this topic ever again. He got away with it once with vocab, and vocab was so sloppy with it that Dante was allowed to survive that debate. I'm going to go over that debate tomorrow on Debate Talk for you and whatnot. We're going to go over the ins and outs of it, why vocab did a horrendous job, why Dante did a horrendous job, why nobody won that debate, and why Dante after the debate in recent conversation with me gave up his premise for the debate, i.e. he's post-actively lost the debate. He post-actively like turned over his premise, just let it die there on the ground. But you know what I'm saying? I'll point that out tomorrow. For a lot of people, that won't be easy to see right now. But once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. You won't be able to unsee it, fam. But yeah, let me just share my screen and we're gonna get into this whole thing because it's getting ridiculous at this point, right? If it wasn't so laughable, it'd be sad, right? But no worries, we'll just get into this whole thing, right? So y'all remember how Dante used to be like, oh man, I'm the Candyman, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't want to see me, don't say my name, you know what I'm saying? Well, oh, Dante. Ain't no one scared of you, fam. And there's a reason why no one's scared of you, fam. It's because everyone sees the fluff. Like I said, at this juncture, everybody sees you running like Chris. Everybody sees you running like Lil Chris. Even you see yourself. Even you see yourself running like Lil Chris. Well, let's get into it, right? Because why are you running? Because you literally can't hide the fact that A, there's holes in your doctrine, but B, it's a doctrine that's meant to be a dog whistle for a Negro only concept. That's the main reason. It's not even that you're wrong, bro, because it's obvious that you're wrong. It's 2 left feet. I mean, you're literally cutting out like a good 30% of like the prophecy you're talking about in Genesis just to try to make it work, wouldn't it, right? So I mean, that part's obvious. Everyone sees that you're wrong, right? However, people might not understand why you're trying to skate around the issue. Is it money? Sure. You got to protect the brand and whatnot, right? But if it was just one brand, the concept of the brand or whatnot, you could dip and dodge on some stuff. But like, well, let me just say this: if it was the concept of the 400 years, you could dip and dodge. But at the end of the day, you can't let on that you have this Negro only concept, right? However, like, if you really wanted to protect your brand and whatnot, you should have stayed all the way out of it, bro. You could have chosen not to engage at all. No one would have thought less of you, lost respect for you, that type of stuff, man. You could have chosen not to engage at all because no one was saying your name. As a matter of fact, it was Tell and Yacoba that were catching heat for having to deal with comments that Yacoba made that he can't unsay, where he actually put a date on the thing about when y'all was finna leave with the 400 years and whatnot, right? I'm going to bring that up in a second. But Tell and Yacoba were catching heat from Mike, from myself. You had Blacktastic and Zadok talking about the 400 years in general, not saying nobody's names. And wasn't nobody saying your name. Like, if you would have came through, like, and put out like a post a long time ago talking about, you know what, I'm going to stay out of the fray. I'm going to choose not to engage in these frivolous conversations and whatnot, in the sense to where if you want to deal with me and what I've said in my book, I've taken the time to write a book. You need to respond to me in writing. So if you want to respond to me, you probably need to write a book, etc. Them kind of things, bro. Wouldn't want to trip. I definitely wouldn't have tripped. I actually respect them kind of things. I actually do think people should respond with written material, etc. when addressing written material. I think that's decent, right? And scholastic. However, that's not what you did, Fib. That's not even close to what you did. Like, what you did was you chose to engage publicly when no one was saying your name. When no one was saying your name. No one was talking about how you got down about the prophecy, etc. None of that type of stuff. You chose to engage. No one dragged you in anything. Like, you chose to engage publicly. Start throwing ad homs, name calling people, all them kind of things, and wasn't no one talking about you. And you made sure that you did it and tagged Berin when people were live on his channel talking about the stuff, and you're calling them liars and snakes and them. Fam, no one dragged you into that. You did that. No one said your name on Berin's panel until they addressed the post that you tagged Berin in. And you know what they said? Blacktastic and Zeta both said they ain't had no problems with you. They just disagreed on the 400 years. So they wasn't even taking shots at you. Even after you were taking shots at them. Again, they're on there for a minute breaking stuff down. They're on there for 5 hours or whatnot, right? They're on there for a minute breaking stuff down, and then you drop your post tagging Berin. We got ads on Berin TV false teaching and saying Ezekiel 4 isn't prophecy, etc. Y'all know the post. That's a couple weeks ago, yeah? You chose not to engage with any arguments being made about Ezekiel 4 or Genesis 15 by Blacktastic or Zadok. From 2 weeks ago to now, you haven't put out any responses to the teachings that they were saying or their positions on Ezekiel 4 or anything like that, right? You just directly hit them with the ad homs or whatnot. Again, they're not even addressing you, and out of nowhere, they're not even shooting at you, and out of nowhere, you decide to jump in front of the bullet and then start throwing rocks and hiding your hands or whatnot. That's 2 weeks ago. Post 1, 2 weeks ago. And again, from then to now, again, you have not addressed anything that they said about Ezekiel. You threw up a premiere like it was a smokescreen, but didn't address anything they had to say. You made a post, but didn't address anything they had to say. You was feeling all, anyway, they weren't even addressing you. You felt some kind of way. That's amazing in and of itself, yeah. And that shows the concept and the mentality of this cult of personality concept, right? It's got to be about you when no one's talking about you. Sister E pulled the same thing the other week. No one's talking about her in the 400 years or whatnot. And oh my God, since people are talking about Taylor and you but you talking about me too. Y'all are jumping in front of bullets that aren't even shot at y'all. You're jumping in front of other people's bullets. And again, Zadok and Blacktastic weren't even shooting at anybody in general. They were talking about a doctrine. And Zadok made it clear. He's like, look, man, I got people I love that got this doctrine. People I go break bread with that got this doctrine. So it's not a hate thing. But again, you chose to engage with, you chose not to engage with any arguments being made about Ezekiel 4 or Genesis 15 by Blacktastic or Zadok. What'd you do? You chose to throw rocks and hide your hands. You chose to throw rocks and hide your hands, man. Again, 2 weeks ago, you dropped your first post on this whole thing. Nowhere in this do you deal with any of the arguments that they're making. And if you're going to engage and deal with the arguments, okay, that's intellectually honest. Ain't no one tripping on that. If you're dealing with the arguments being made, cool. Now we're talking about a good faith discussion, straight. But that's not how you enter this thing. You enter this thing on a bad faith level, just shooting at Hammond right off rip. You're shooting at Hammond. Post 1. You then tried to gaslight your own echo chamber into thinking that Mr. Blacktastic and Zadok misrepresented your views. Hashtag not about you. They didn't even talk about your views, fam. They weren't even addressing how you saw it. They were talking about, again, please, for anybody who's missed it, go back and watch the premiere I did yesterday, breaking down Blacktastic and Zadok and how, or showing Blacktastic and Zadok breaking down Ezekiel 4 on Marine TV, right? Zadok gives a beautiful history lesson of the 400-year prophecy and how it predates all these Darbyite wannabes by a good couple of decades. By a good couple of decades in terms of just who he's been talking to about it and dealing with, and sparring with, etc. in the Israelite community, etc. A couple of decades for y'all even show up. A couple of decades for you Darbyites even show up, fam. But you try to gaslight the people into thinking that somehow, because they're talking about the 400-year prophecy and they're not specifically talking about you, and kissing your ring about the whole thing and discussing your book from inside and out and specifically name dropping you that they must be getting your stuff wrong, bruh. Zadok made it clear, fam, the time frame and time period he was dealing with. Oh, so what? You've been talking about you're the only person that's ever been talking about the 400 years prophecy since in the past couple of decades, past 25 years almost. He was talking about, bruh, get over yourself, fam. You Darbyites is a recent thing in this whole phenomenon, fam. You postmodern Darbyites are a brand new thing, fam. Be easy. It ain't always about you, fam. Again, showing the cult of personality concept, right? Everything got to be about me. Even when it's not about me, it's about me. That's your second post on the thing, right? Then you try to hide behind deacons, fringes. Hiding behind another grown man's fringes, but he shot himself in the foot talking about 430 years and how that was fulfilled. And already, like, again, not 400 like you're talking about. 400 exactly. No, he's saying 430 been fulfilled. And then said from 1441 to 1865. So a whole different time frame than what you deal with. But even then, he shot himself in the foot because you're like, to your standard, it's got to be exact. It got to be exact. And it's not even exactly 430. And it definitely ain't 400. So what do you hide my deacon's fringes for? It don't even make no sense. But yet and still, you got one grown man hiding behind another grown man's fringes, name dropping two other grown men. Post 3. 2 weeks ago. Post 3, fam. Again, wasn't nobody name dropping you, and you're already in damage control. You're damage control fortune right now. You're damage control fortune right now, and wasn't nobody name dropping you. Then after being directly challenged by Mr. Blacktastic, because again, at this juncture, 3 posts, now you're name dropping him. Why shouldn't he challenge you, fam? He wasn't saying your name to begin with, and you're saying his name from jump. You're bringing him up from jump, throwing insults from jump. And they still, and after you threw insults, they still said, bro, we're cool with you, bro. We got love for you, ain't no beef. Then after being directly challenged after all that by Mr. Blacktastic, you hit the track running like a nosebleed fan. Running like a nosebleed fan. Check this out. I'll debate Blacktastic if he has 10 historical sources pre-1800s to support an exact 400-year slavery of Israel. 430 or any other number, exactly 400 years. If he doesn't have those sources, he can sit on his itty-bitty channel and scream in the wind until you give him permission to come on your channel. We both know without you, he's irrelevant to pretty much everything, or to pretty much everyone. Right. Got you. There's Kevin Samuelson, right? So Dante, is it alpha male status or is it beta male status to go into full damage control and no one saying your name, drop people's names who have smaller channels than you? Like, you have the bigger channel and you're talking about them having smaller channels. They're not name dropping you. They're not name dropping you, bro. You're punching down at that point. Is that alpha or is that beta, fam? But here's how it's obvious. Like, here's how it's crazy that you're running, and it's. I'm actually glad you did this because it really shows the cult of personality mentality that you rock with, fam. And the fact that nobody in your echo chamber is checking you, fam. You got way too many yes men around you. So you start off with, literally in one sentence, 10 fallacies. It's amazing. I blew my mind. Amazing. But you know what I'm saying? We're going to get into, I'm going to break it down bit by bit by bit. But before I break it down bit by bit by bit, I'm going to do it like this, man. I made you a little something, Dante. Just to help illustrate a point that I'm going to make here in a second. I made you something. I'm going to root myself and play the clip right quick. Did y'all catch it? Man, I hope y'all caught that. Dante's got an issue. Dante's got a huge issue on his hands. He's trying to have my G Blacktastic give 10 historical sources for something that no Bible manuscript out there says. There's not a single solitary biblical manuscript that stipulates that Israel would be in slavery for 400 years. Not a single solitary manuscript anywhere in the biblical tradition. Not a manuscript, not a textual variant, fam. So this is how it's obvious that you're running, my G, because you put out a threshold that's impossible. Not only is it impossible, it's impossible because it's a claim the Bible never makes. Not only is it a claim the Bible never makes, it's a claim that you can't show in any manuscript, any textual variant, anything. So you are the source of the doctrine now. You are the sole source for what you're saying because you're not pulling it from anything biblical. And then you admit to understanding that you know that the claim can't be met, that the standard can't be met, that the stipulation can't be met because it's not because it's a good claim, fam. It's an impossible claim. It's like, hey, I'll debate you if you can shoot the sun. Huh? Yeah, you're running, fam. You're running. And so when I rightly put this in my title of a video I give no commentary on, I literally just show you doing what you're doing, right? You're challenged to a debate and you run. You don't accept the debate. One more time, you don't accept the debate. You don't even give a stipulation that's meetable so you would accept the debate. You put out a claim that cannot be met because you're not proving it via any biblical tradition, any biblical manuscript tradition out there. There's no biblical manuscript you're pointing to that says, yeah, Israel is supposed to be in slavery for 400 years. You're force fitting that into the text. It's a false premise to begin with. That's why you're running, Dante. And check this out. We'll get into it further. You then jump in my itty bitty comment section to cry and accuse me of lying about you. Who would have guessed that? Big bad Dante jumps in my itty bitty comment section. Even though I'm not important, Blacktastic's not important, our little channels don't mean nothing, but you're consistently in damage control over our little itty bitty channels. Got to put people's names in your big bad mouths. What do you say? Why lie in your title? I gave my terms for the debate. Just be honest and admit Blacktastic can't meet him. Bro, y'all be cracking me up because it's like, so here's the issue with an echo chamber. When all you do is sit in an echo chamber and just are surrounded by yes men who aren't going to let you know when you sound like you're speaking nonsense, you come out to the real world and say the same stuff and your voice don't carry, bro. Your voice just don't carry the same way it does in an echo chamber. And the stuff that makes sense to you out there don't make sense to nobody out here. Let me break this down. So let me break this down too. So you then went from my little itty bitty comment section to your great big community post page and claimed I intentionally deceived the people. So now Moore's lying. So now you got to prove. Now Moore's lying.
That's not what you said to me. So I'm lying. Am I lying? No. Huh?
Okay, we know how this game works. So now you got to prove the team fair. Now you got to prove the team. I don't think Mr. Blacktastic or the Orthodox Moor got the memo. I'm not obligated to do anything just because some clown challenges me to a debate. Also claiming Iran is intentionally deceiving people. I laid out crystal clear terms and conditions. Either meet them or shut up. Simple as that. Manipulation via false claims of me running aren't going to sway me either. If you don't have an exact 400-year slavery of Israel with 10 sources pre-1800s to prove it, I'm not going to waste my time. I don't care about your 430 years, nor do I care about your how you interpret prophecy. I have absolutely nothing to gain. I want y'all to hear this part. Pay attention to this because we're going to juxtapose Dante on Dante. I have absolutely nothing to gain by entertaining people that can't get more than 50 people at a time to listen because their doctrine is trash, their theology is trash, and their knowledge of history is embarrassing. Now go get permission from Brain to speak to more than 50 people at a time and leave my name out of your clout chasing mouths before I chose to address both of you via a premiere. Fair. I want y'all to remember that I have absolutely nothing to gain by entertaining people that can't get more than 50. I want y'all to remember this part. So, there's no way Dante is coming to my comment section speaking nonsense and act like I'm not going to respond to my comment section, right? So this was my formal response to Dante, of which he has yet to respond to. And I highly doubt that he will. I highly doubt that he will, because when you step out of your echo chamber and you find out your voice don't carry and you talk to an actual grown man and you find out his voice does, yeah, you run off and you don't come back. You run back to your echo chamber, fam, because that's where your voice carries. So my response is this: Dante, where is the lie in the title? You are literally in my comment section admitting that you have an insurmountable and non sequitur set of stipulations as your response. Hence, you have absolutely no intention of ever actually accepting a debate with Mr. Blacktastic. It's not hard to prove me a liar if this is indeed the case. Scenario number 1. You provide evidence that Vocab Malone had to meet the same stipulations in order to debate you over the 400-year prophecy. Then I would be more than happy to publicly admit that you are being consistent and not running. Scenario number 2. You also provide at least 10 historical sources from prior to 1800s that support Jewish communities believing in a coming 400-year prophecy and rejecting Genesis 15, 13 through 16 already having been fulfilled. Then I would be more than happy to admit publicly that you are being consistent and not running. Scenario number 3, you provide evidence that in 2019, when you were challenging Vocab Malone to debate, that your channel was not smaller than his. Then I would be happy to admit publicly that you are being consistent and not running. Scenario number 4, you don't provide any evidence or sources. Then recognize you should just be honest and admit that you are out here where everyone can see you running like a nosebleed. And so about this 2019, John, y'all can go to Dante's Facebook right now and check out this post from August 7th, 2019. Vocab Malone is tagged in the post, name dropping in the post, right? Vocab Malone is still dodging my debate challenge. I know he knows about it because his squad of clowns keeps emailing me and posting comments on my site. Don't get nervous, Vocab. It's only a little live debate. If you know your stuff like you claim, this should be a walk in the park for you. Jeez. Hold on, let me read it like this. Don't get nervous, Dante. Don't get nervous, Dante. It's only a little live debate. If you know your stuff like you claim, this should be a walk in the park for you. By the way, anytime they want to tell you that they reject the term BHI and that it's racist to call him BHI, like, fam, there you go. Clip this one out right there. That's your man Dante calling himself BHI proudly. But again, my G, how the tables have turned. Because you and I both know that in 2019, your channel was nowhere near Vocab size. Y'all got the same size channel now. Like, literally, Faithful to God was out there talking ish about you at one point because you were clout chasing Faithful, and he was like, well, you got less subscribers than me. Faithful to God. And again, don't get nervous, Dante. It's only a little live debate. If you know your stuff like you claim, this should be a walk in the park for you. Yet it's been days and I haven't seen a response to my retraction offer. How odd. How odd. Because I'm out here giving you a bunch of scenarios where I put my head on the chopping block. Where I'm saying, you know what? I'm publicly incorrect. You know what? Dante's being 100% consistent and he's not running. I'm wrong. I'll say that all day. I'll say that. Just prove me wrong, fam. Simple scenarios, bro. Simple proof. Just prove me wrong. Prove Vocab had to meet the same stipulations in order to debate you. You also prove that you will also put up 10 sources. Like if you're going to demand that someone put up 10 sources, prove that you also have 10 sources for your claim, right? That's consistent, right? You both got 10 sources for your claim. Got you straight. And prove that that your channel wasn't smaller than vocabs when you were demanding he debate you in 2019. Simple as. However, you then attempt to hide in the echo chamber of your own cult of personality, transparently exposing the fallacies in your arguments, my G. I thought it was fantastic. Like, it was amazing. When you made this post, bro, I was like, wow. I was like, bro, you need at least one homie that's not a yes man, bro. At least just one. You didn't got to tell the yes man you got the homie, but just have your man like on this, like just have him on speed dial. Like, hey, homie, is this a bad idea? You know the yes man ain't gonna tell me, is this a bad idea? Because this is one of them bad ideas, bro. So Dante again drops his post, right? If they can't show you an exact 400 years with historical sources, they are trying to deceive you. So again, when I was saying transparently showing you the cult of personality mentality, right? And perception. Again, Dante is now making himself the source. Again, making himself the source. If they can't show you an exact 400 years with historical sources, they are trying to deceive you. Again, the claim that Israel was in slavery for 400 years is not in any biblical text out there. Manuscript tradition, variant text, like nothing. He literally can't show you that Israel is in slavery for 400 years in any biblical tradition, but is claiming if someone says other than that, they're lying to you, that they're deceiving you. He can't show you proof of the opposite, though. If they try to tell you that 215 years in Egypt fulfilled the 400 years, they are trying to deceive you. Well, my G, you again, this would rely on you having to show that this 400 years of Israel in slavery in Egypt, in this particular, obviously 400 years in slavery, right, is in the manuscript tradition, right? And I'll jump into the other stuff. Well, I already showed you the other tradition that you recognize, that you talk about in your book, right? You can talk about a manuscript tradition that deals with 430 in Egypt and Canaan, but you can't show me a manuscript tradition that says Israel was in captivity or slavery for 400 years, or would be. If they can't tell you the whole truth about what was taught about the 400 years, they are trying to deceive you. Now, again, this is said from the person, right, who chops up a portion of verse 13 and cuts out all of 16 when it comes to Genesis chapter 15. So again, when it comes to the section of 400 years, it says that your seed, again, Abraham's seed, will be a stranger in the land not theirs, right? These are the stipulations, that they're going to be a stranger, mistreated, captivity. So these are all either happening during the entirety of the 400 years, or they're happening over portions. And literally the only thing that we see out of all of those lasting for the entire 400 years is the fact that they're strangers, fam. That's the only thing consistent, is that they're strangers. Meaning that the other conditions don't last the entire time. And even Dante agrees to this. Hence, he tries to show you, no, there is slavery and affliction. Slavery and affliction. So he can't show you 400 years of slavery in Egypt, and he can't show you 400 years of slavery in America. And then, oh, no. The 13th Amendment, the 13th Amendment. Nah, don't sister eat yourself, fam, because y'all concept of American history is crazy. You got America starting in 1619, which no historian agrees to. The U.S. Constitution was not written in 1619. I don't know what y'all are talking about. But on top of that, the 13th Amendment was not changed in 2019 either. So whatever you're saying was the impetus for slavery still existing in beyond 1619 or after 1865, etc., being the 13th Amendment, well, bro, we still got it. You said the curses end in 2019. but we still got brothers locked up, and we still got the 13th Amendment and whatnot. Like, what's that about? And on top of that, again, if they can't tell you the whole truth about what was taught about the 40 years, they are trying to deceive you. Again, these people are leaving out an entire verse of the Ting fam. So now the fourth generation and the wickedness of the Amorites don't even matter no more. Dante, direct quote. I don't know who the Amorites are, but God does. Can't tell you about a large chunk of this thing. Can't explain. Won't even touch the fourth generation. Even though it's clear. You can literally see Joseph in Egypt playing with the third and fourth generation. And that fourth generation taking out Amorites. I'm telling you, you need at least one non-yes man on your squad, Dante. Because the yes men are making you look crazy out here, bro. Crazy, bro. If they have to twist the narrative, they are trying to deceive you. Again, bro, let me chop off 30% of this prophecy thing to go shoehorn my joint right quick. Sure. Let me shoot down people talking about the fact that it's already been fulfilled and they're checking off every single solitary box in the prophecy. Don't mind the fact that I can't check off all the boxes, but they got to twist it for you. Sure, got you. If they tell you the curses didn't end at the end of the 400 years, they are trying to deceive you. Okay, my G, if the curses ended, you have to show me where the 13th Amendment got stricken or rewritten or something or amended, etc. I'll wait. I don't recall that. And I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd that watches Supreme Court stuff. You learned that when you tried to falsely accuse me back in gay marriage. Remember that one? And you found out that, you know what, your boy was actually giving commentary on Supreme Court oral arguments and decisions and whatnot. Back when Dante was ripping off Darby, you know what I'm saying, talking about some ancient alien stuff. So I have yet to see the 13th Amendment get changed, amended, stricken, any of that. So you tell me how the curses ended in 2019, my G. Because you can't cite anything that shows that they did. Literally everything you cite in your book that you say is a problem, literally everything you say is a problem, still persists now in 2023. Everything still persists. So how did the curses end? They did. Hence, you're running like a nosebleed because you don't want to have to answer that one on the clock, bro. Because you can't answer it, bro. If they tell you that we were supposed to leave America at the end of 40 years, they are trying to deceive you, fam. Again, first of all, shots fired at Teo and Yakoba. Jeez. Because we definitely saw your man say, well, if we're still here in 2 years, I'm going to say it's not the prophecy and apologize, etc. He didn't apologize, and he didn't say it wasn't the prophecy. You know what he had the nerve to say? Well, if you misunderstood me, I apologize. Yo. But no, shout out to you for shooting your boys in the face like that. Because they definitely said that we was going to be gone, right? But on top of that, bro, now you want to neglect history and want to act like you didn't hear Zadok say what he said. And he even told you he talked to you before about this stuff, right? Y'all Darbyites ain't the first people talking about the 40-year prophecy, fam. And there was a lot of people talking about at the end of 40 years we'd be gone. So again, a lot of this is you jumping in front of a bullet that ain't had nothing to do with you, fam. Ain't had nothing to do with you. If they tell you the Most High was only guessing and estimating 40 years, but really meant 430, they are trying to deceive you. Now, my G, you're literally on camera on Berean TV saying, if you allow 430 for that one, you have to allow 430 for this one. Do you really people think don't listen? What are you new? Do you think I don't listen now? Out of all the times you got slapped up by your own mistakes and your own sloppiness, you think I don't listen now? What are you saying, fam? What are you doing? Like I'm saying, get one less yes man, fam. You need help now. It's a sickness, bro. This is intervention right now. This is intervention right now. This is where it gets super crazy. This is where it gets super crazy, fam. Apparent TV, y'all can say whatever you want. Not going to change the fact that a 400-year prophecy of slavery and servitude is mentioned in the Bible, and an exact 400-year servitude and oppression of Israelite descendants happened right here in America. The God that I serve didn't say 400 and really mean 215 or 430. I don't know what God y'all serve. Again, I don't know what God y'all serve, but if he doesn't know the difference between 400 and 430, he's not the God of the Bible. Either that or y'all are wrong and your theology is garbage. I'm guessing the theology is absolute garbage. So at this juncture, if you disagree with Dante, who has no proof of his claim that any biblical manuscript states that Israelites will be in a 400-year captivity, nowhere does it say that in Genesis 15 that Israelites will be in a 400-year captivity. Nowhere. If you disagree with his false claim that has no proof, you are disagreeing with God. You are disagreeing with God. Now you're claiming infallibility, Dante. You have just hit the I will put my throne above status, bro. Have fun with that, bro. This is where anybody around you who has 2 brain cells should be backing away slowly, trying to dodge a lightning bolt coming from the Most High, fam. But unfortunately, you surround yourself with yes men. So they all finna catch it, bro. And this is the part that got me the most, bro. Like, I just saw this when I was like, yo, you try to call people cloud chasers, this, that, and the third, my G. And you're stalking people in another man. You're stalking one grown man in another grown man's chat. And on top of that, got the conversation wrong in the chat. Like, I hope you press this issue so I get to expose you on it, right? But like, yo, homie, like, this is hilarious to me. So, my G, is it alpha to be stalking another grown man in another grown man's chat? That's alpha to you, bro? That's alpha to you, my G? Yo. Yo. And got the nerve to be calling people clout chasers. Again, you're name dropping people. You're doing the whole tail thing. Let me name drop you. If you respond, let me call you a clout chaser. Let me insult you from my big bad channel. But if you respond from your little itty bitty channel, you're clout chasing. Bruh, you started doing damage control first, bruh. They weren't even saying your name. And you went into full damage control Fortson mode, bruh. But now they cloud chasing. One more time, Manji. Check this out. Were you cloud chasing back in 2019? Is that what that was? Is that what that was? Bruh, stop it. Stop it. So if you weren't cloud chasing in 2019 and Vocab wasn't saying your name, you're saying his name. How is Blacktastic cloud chasing you and you're saying Blacktastic's name? And he wasn't saying your name. And he wasn't saying your name. Now you out here looking crazy because your demand for proof is something that's in no Bible anywhere. And now you're claiming infallibility like you're God, fam. Yo, bro, I'm telling you, invest in at least one less yes man. At least one. So Dante, you can't show 10 manuscripts. You can't show 10 manuscripts saying Israel would go into slavery for 400 years. You can't show that. You can't even show one manuscript, Dante. You can't even show one. This is why you're running out. Dante, you can't show 10 historical sources of Jewish communities believing in a future 400-year prophecy, bro. You know you can't. Here's the cold part. If you could have done either, if you could do this part here or this one here, they both would have been in your book. And you know what's not in your book? Neither one of these claims. Not a single manuscript saying what you're talking about in terms of 400 years. No breakdown of Jewish communities historically talking about a future 400-year prophecy. Not in your book at all, fam. Not in your book at all. Thank God I bought the ebook. If I'd have bought the paper, I'd have been pissed. Dante, you can't show any evidence that Vocab Malone had to meet the same stipulations you gave Blacktastic in order to debate you. You can't do it. It doesn't exist. You know why? Because you didn't give Vocab any stipulations. And Vocab gave you the worst debate I've ever seen him give. But you know what? I'm not Vocab. I'm finna run this whole joint back. You're not going to debate nobody. You're not going to jump in the ring, but you've said enough in public to where you're going to debate somebody, fam. Dante, you can't show any evidence that your channel was bigger than Vocab's when you were challenging him to a debate in 2019. You can't do it. Stop playing, fam. Dante, you can't show any evidence that you aren't out here running like a nosebleed, fam. You can't do it, bro. Again, this is what you look like to the public right now, fam.
Huh? Man, y'all busters can't catch me. Man, y'all need to Who's gonna get me? We not good. You ought to be throwing nobody back in.
So now I'm really about to dissect this thing, fam. What? There's more? Yeah. Because Dante, you can't again prove you aren't out here running like Christian Friday, bro. Prove that ain't you right there, bro. That's you. Stop playing. So, what I like to do, family, is educate people in terms of the logical fallacies being presented by the opposition, right? Dante's not a debater. He debates via fallacy. I laugh because the people let him get away with it all the time, right? This is one of the reasons why Vocab just flat out fell on his face to debate Dante, right? They both lost that debate. But the first thing that happened was Dante avoided the issue. When an arguer responds to an argument by not addressing the points of the argument, unlike the strawman fallacy, avoiding the issue does not create an unrelated argument. To divert attention, it simply avoids the argument, which is exactly what Dante did. Throughout it ad hom, said these people are lying about it, and then addressed nothing being said about Ezekiel 4. He just avoided the issue altogether. Logical fallacy. And again, the response was a non sequitur, right? This is important to deal with and to be able to spot when you're debating people, because you want people to directly deal with the argument you're presenting, right? And in a good faith conversation, that's what happens. In a bad faith conversation, you have to keep pointing out the fallacies and try to get people back on track, right? Particularly when they drop and typically it starts like you see people trying to go off track with the non sequitur, right? when the conclusion does not follow from the premises. In more informal reasoning, it can be when what is presented as evidence or reason is irrelevant or adds very little support to the conclusion. Typically, you see non sequiturs being spotted or called out when people are bringing up irrelevant points or irrelevant arguments to the one that's on the table. So, for instance, okay, Dante, you've been calling my name out for a couple of weeks, bro. Let's get this debate in. Let's debate the 400 years. I'd like to debate you on the 400 years. Well, let me respond by giving a stipulation about a claim that you're not making and I can't prove. But that's irrelevant to the point. That's non sequitur, fam. The point is, will you, again, the debate, bro, on this topic of the 400 years, do you have it right or do you have it wrong? You talking about something, again, I'm gonna here, and this is why people need to understand. I'm gonna jump straight into it, right? The argument from false authority. This is why it's so crazy, and I'm so glad you did it so people can understand this, because this is how you do it. You, the Tail Twins, Ron Dalton Jr., you do the argument from false authority. Again, you're claiming infallibility. If you disagree with me, you're disagreeing with God, basically, right? When a person making a claim is presented as an expert who should be trusted when his or her expertise is not in the area being discussed. Again, Dante, you have not pulled out any manuscript from or a variant text, a 1 off, a 2 off, a 3 off text that says something different, right? Not a single solitary manuscript or a variant text that stipulates that Israel would be in slavery for 400 years. And again, if you did, you would have put it in your book. But you know what you put in the book? You put in the same stuff that I put in there. You put in the Septuagint. You put in the Samaritan Pentateuch and whatnot, because those scripts exist in reality. The stuff you're talking about, nowhere in any Bible. And if you could find it, you would have put it in your book, fam. Or you put it in a post or something, bruh. And this is listen, family, my head is on the chopping block. This is super simple, bruh. Take as many swings as you want to, because my head's never coming off my shoulders, bruh. Because there's not a single solitary manuscript or variant text that says what you're claiming, Dante. And that's y'all hear how big that target is and how big that bullseye is? He just needs one little itty bitty variant text to say what he's saying. One itty bitty manuscript to say what he's saying. Nothing. Hence, arguing with alleged certainty, right? Asserting a conclusion without evidence or premises through a statement that makes the conclusion appear certain when in fact it is not. Logical fallacy. Logical fallacy. We're literally on 4. This is all from one sentence, fam. I was literally laughing when I read. I was like, "Wow, this must be a record. This must be a record." A definist fallacy, right? Defining a term in such a way that makes one's position much easier to defend. So when he says, "You have to give me an exact 400 years of Israel being in slavery," okay, that's him defining the term. He's defining it, but again, nowhere in any text, nowhere in any manuscript, nowhere in any textual variant. Can't show it. Selective attention, focusing your attention on certain aspects of the arguments while completely ignoring or missing other parts. This usually results in irrelevant rebuttals, strawman fallacies, and unnecessarily drawn out arguments. So this can best be seen when you see them jettisoning the entirety of Genesis 15:16 and parts of 15:13, etc., right? Where they ignored the stranger bit. And they ignored like the scripture saying that they were a stranger in Egypt 430. It didn't say that they were slaves. And Again, strangers, right? Every time it talks about the Vietnamese, you were strangers, bro. Strangers. Remember, you were strangers. Again, strangers for 430. But again, ignoring that part and ignoring the whole bit about the fourth generation and the wickedness of the Amorites, coming back in the fourth generation, and the wickedness of the Amorites being full. That's selective attention. And so when you deal with these kind of arguments, you'll have people they will check off every single solitary box. Okay, we got the strangers, we have the slavery, we have the affliction, we have the 400 years, we have the fourth generation, we have the Amorites. Got you. All the boxes checked off. What you got? I got 400 years. And we keep getting these long, drawn out arguments that don't go away because you're stating a point of view from you being infallible, because you have no proof to the contrary. You have no proof to the contrary. You have nothing saying what you're saying the text says. So this argument's going on ad nauseum because no one in your crew, because you're surrounded by yes men in an echo chamber, so your voice can carry, is telling you, hey, bro, ain't no book says this out here. Like none. And because of such, you want the rest of the world to prove erroneous claims, fam. Ridiculous and fallacious on its face. Again, straw man fallacy. Substituting a person's actual position or argument with the distorted, exaggerated, or misrepresented version of the position of the argument. You're fantastic at this. You're fantastic at this. If they're saying this, family, then blah, blah, blah. If they're saying this, blah, blah. No, bro. What did he actually say? What did Blacktastic actually say about Ezekiel 4? What did he actually say about Genesis 15? Because you're arguing everything but what he's saying. Arguing things he never even said. You literally argued that he was talking about that they were misrepresenting your version of the 400 years, even though they didn't say your name. That's a big straw man. They're not talking about you, but they're misrepresenting you in your claim. Bruh, knock it off. Special pleading, bruh. Like, this is your superpower. This is your superpower. Applying standards, principles, and or rules to other people or circumstances while making oneself or certain circumstances exempt from the same critical criteria without providing adequate justification. Special pleading is often a result of strong emotional beliefs that interfere with reason. Special pleading is often a result of a strong emotional belief that interferes with reason. Example of special pleading. This is a fantastic one. You have to show me 400 years of slavery in Egypt, but I can't show you 400 years of slavery in America. That one cracks me up all day long. You have to show me 400 years of slavery in Egypt and in Canaan, even when you throw in the manuscript tradition. But I can't show you 400 years of slavery here. Cannot do it. Cannot do it. Ad hominem attacks, bro. This is how you start the thing, fam. Attacking the person making the argument rather than the argument itself. When the attack on the person is completely irrelevant to the argument the person is making. So when you're attacking people, attacking their character, attacking their personage, calling people liars and snakes, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 and not dealing with the argument being made. That's an ad hominem attack, fam. That's fallacious. That's how you started this whole thing. You started with the fallacy and you end with the fallacy, bro. Appeal to accomplishment. When the argument being made is sheltered from criticism based on the level of accomplishment of the one making the argument. A form of this fallacy also occurs when arguments are evaluated on the accomplishments or success of the person making the argument, rather than on the merits of the argument itself. Oh, your channel is too small for me to deal with you or to acknowledge what you're saying. My channel is too big. I have nothing to gain from engaging you in this in this conversation. Yeah, appeal to accomplishment, fam. Because once again, in 2019, you're sitting there saying that, like, no, if you know what you know, this should be a little quick live. It shouldn't be an issue whatsoever, fam. If you know what you know, stand it, bro. Show and prove, bro. Stand on your square, bro. Again, everyone can see, bro. Everyone can see you out here, bro. Everyone can see you out here, bro.
Huh? Man, y'all busters can't catch me. Man, y'all need to come on, huh? Hey, who that was that? Who was gonna get you? We not good. You ought to be throwing about back in.
Everybody see you out here, bro. Again, Dante, prove you aren't out here running like Chris from Friday. Prove that's not you right there on the screen, fam. Because everybody see it. And so I could care less if you debate Blacktastic or not, bro. I'm not trying to force you to debate nobody. I know you're not going to debate him because you didn't debate me. Over 10 months ago, you didn't debate me when I challenged you on the same topic. And I challenged you on a dual debate. You were out here trying to accuse me of being pro-gay marriage. Failed miserably in public, right? Got to wear egg all over your face on that one, right? Because your boy was out here defending traditional marriage while you were out here talking about ancient aliens and whatnot. And wouldn't take the debate on, did more defend gay marriage. And the dual debate was, again, I was going to defend the topic. You defend the topic. Is the 400-year prophecy a Negro-only dog whistle? You don't want no parts of it, bro. You don't want no parts of it, bro. Just is what it is, fam. It really just is what it is, man. But I don't want to keep running this too long, fam, because it's really not worth the time. Not too much longer. I mean, y'all see what it is. Your boy's running scared. Throwing rocks, hiding his hand, in full damage control 14 mode. Like, it just is what it is, man. But we're supposed to believe something.
That's not what you said to me. So I'm lying. Am I lying? No. Huh?
Nope. I'm not lying until you show me some proof somewhere, Dante. I'm not lying, fam. But I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down, fam. I appreciate y'all. And again, Dante, just understand, bro. Let me do it like this. Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. With that, family, I say peace and love.